In this course, we'll be covering 4 use cases for the Sheet Summary tab. And for each of the use cases, I'll be walking through an example so that you can see them in action. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Before we get into the use cases for the sheet summary, let's first talk about what the sheet summary actually is. The sheet summary provides a standard location to define, organize, and report on custom project, business, and summary level information. In a nutshell, the sheet summary is a single place on the sheet to access key information. Now let's quickly jump into Smartsheet so we can go over how to navigate the sheet summary tab. Every sheet has a sheet summary panel. Access the sheet summary panel by clicking the summary icon on the right navigation pane. To add a new field to your summary panel, click New Field. From here, you'll name your field and select the appropriate type depending on the information that you want to display. The available options are text number, which is selected by default, contact list, date, drop down, checkbox, and symbols. Once you've named the field and selected your desired type, click OK to add the field. Now, as you can see, we've added our new field to our panel. Now, every field in the panel has its own menu options. You can access the field's menu options by hovering over the field and clicking on the ellipses icon in the far right corner. From the menu options, you can clear the fields of its contents, set a currency formatting, number formatting, add a hyperlink, insert an image, insert additional fields above or below your current field, move the field up or down, lock the field, delete the field, or access the field properties, where you can rename the field and select a different field type. To add additional fields, you'll click the New Field button at the bottom of the panel. Now, as I mentioned earlier, every field in the panel has its own menu options, but the Sheet Summary panel has its own set of menu options as well. You can access the panel options by clicking the ellipses icon next to the Sheet Summary header on the panel. From the panel menu, you can copy fields to other sheets or lock all of the fields at once. And finally, if you need to access quick tips on how to use the Sheet Summary panel or access the help articles related to the feature, you can click the help icon here. Now that we've covered the basics of the Sheet Summary tab, let's get into the use cases. Our first use case for using the Sheet Summary tab is to summarize sheet data. Now, this is the primary use of the Sheet Summary fields. It's great for high-level metrics that may not be highlighted on a dashboard. Meet Maya. She's a marketing manager that leads a large marketing project with an extensive project plan. And she needs to stay on top of the number of project tasks that are due on the current day. So for Maya, we'll be using the sheet summary fields to count the number of project tasks that are due today. Here we are on Maya's project plan. And as you can see, it's pretty extensive. And as we mentioned earlier, she needs to stay on top of project tasks that are due on the current day. So we'll be using the sheet summary fields to count the number of project tasks that are due today. Now in this case, we'll add 2 summary fields, one that will count the number of tasks that are due today, as well as the number of incomplete tasks that are due today. So we'll open up our sheet summary and we'll add our first field. For this field, we'll be counting the total number of tasks that are due today. So we'll name this field Total Task Due Today. And because the data that we'll be displaying will be a number, we'll leave the type as a text number, then hit OK. In this field, we'll be using the following formula to count those project tasks that are due today. Once you've inputted your formula, go ahead and click anywhere in the Sheet Summary panel. Now, based on our formula and the tasks that are present in the actual project plan, we have 4 total tasks that are due today. Now keep in mind, this formula does not consider any of the tasks that are already completed. So we'll be adding a second field that will count the incomplete tasks that are due today. So we'll click New Field at the bottom of the panel, and we'll name this field Incomplete Tasks Due Today. And again, this is a number value that we'll be displaying, so we'll leave the type as selected. Now for this field, we want to exclude all of the tasks that are already completed. So we'll be using the following formula to calculate those incomplete tasks. And again, once you've inputted the formula, go ahead and click anywhere in the sheet summary panel. Now you can see that we have a lower number for the incomplete tasks. With our new summary fields, Maya can now stay on top of all of the project tasks that are due in the current day. To prevent collaborators with editor level access to the sheet from making any changes to these fields, we're going to go ahead and lock the fields. So we'll click on the panel menu and select Lock All Fields. And as you can see, both of our fields that we've added is now locked from any changes. Now Maya does have another project plan that she'd like to add these fields to. So instead of manually adding those fields to her second project plan sheet, we'll go ahead and copy these fields to that sheet. So let's jump back into the panel options and then select Copy. From here, we'll first select our destination sheet, then we'll choose one of two copy options. The first being field names only, or field names, values, and formulas. Now, because the formula that we added to our fields will apply to the destination sheet, we're going to go ahead and carry over the names, values, and the formulas. Once selected, go ahead and click Copy. Now, if your destination sheet already has summary fields, you'll receive this message, letting you know that you're overriding the existing sheet summaries. In Maya's case, the existing sheet summaries that we have on the destination sheet is obsolete. So we'll go ahead and click Continue. Now that we've copied our fields to our second project plan, let's jump into that project plan and check it out. And as you can see, we have both of our fields that we added, and the values have changed based on this particular project plan. Our second use case is to use the sheet summary to create shortcuts on your sheet. Using the sheet summary in this way, you'll be able to have a central place for your shortcuts to related Smartsheet items, documents, and websites. And it's really useful when you're creating templates because you can use it to interconnect associated items for quick navigation for your collaborators. Percy is a project manager that manages multiple projects for the IT department, and he jumps from several related sheets when managing his projects daily. So on a day-to-day basis, he's updating multiple sheets, issues log, action items, and his project plan. So for Percy, we'll be using the sheet summary fields as hyperlinks for each associated item for easy navigation for him. All right, now we're in one of Percy's project plans. And like I said earlier, he's jumping back and forth between his project plan and his issues log on a day-to-day basis. So to make his life easier, we'll be using a sheet summary field to add a hyperlink on both sheets so that he can easily navigate back and forth between the two sheets. So again, we'll open up our summary panel and add a new field. And this hyperlink will be taking him to the issues log. So we'll just name this field issues log. And we'll leave the selected type as is. Now let's add the hyperlink to the field. We'll access the field options by clicking on the ellipses icon in the right corner. Then from the menu, we'll select hyperlink. In the hyperlink window, you have the ability to add a link to a URL or add a link to another Smartsheet item. Because the issues log is housed in Smartsheet, we'll select the link to another Smartsheet option. Then we'll select our sheet. The display text by default will be whatever the Smartsheet item name is, but you are able to rename it as you see fit. Once you're good with the display text, go ahead, click OK. And as you can see, our hyperlink is now added to our field. Now we'll add an additional field to our issues log that will point to our project plan. This will give Percy that easy navigation between both sheets. So let's click on the hyperlink that we just created. And on this sheet, we'll open up our summary tab and add a new field. And go ahead, name the field, and we'll just name this project plan. Then hit OK. And we'll access the field options, select Hyperlink, choose to link to another Smartsheet, then select our project plan sheet. And let's change the display text. I'll quickly save my sheet. With our new summary field, Percy can now jump between both sheets as he's doing his daily updates to both his project plan and issues log. Our third use case is to use the sheet summary to build formulas. This is probably my favorite use case for the sheet summary tab. Using the sheet summary fields, you can build formulas in your sheet that reference those fields. And you can easily view and update the key data that's being used in those calculations on the sheet. So if there's data that's being used in your calculations are the same across rows, you can use the sheet summary tabs in lieu of adding columns. Meet Felix. He's a freelancer that builds websites and mobile applications for his clients, and he needs to calculate his project revenue based on an hourly rate and a project type. So for Felix, we'll be using the sheet summary fields to manage our rates and reference those fields in the project revenue column in his sheet. So now we're on Felix's sheet where he tracks all of his clients' projects. And as you can see on his project type column, there are 3 different project types that he has. So we've already added the sheet summary fields for each of the rates pertaining to that project type. And we've also set our currency formatting for each of the fields. Using these fields, we'll be calculating the project revenue based on the hourly rate and the project type. In our project revenue column, we'll be using the following formula to calculate that project revenue. With our first formula added, hit enter. Now we'll be using this formula for the entire column, so we'll set this formula as a column level formula. So we'll select our cell that has the formula typed in, right click, then select convert to column formula. Now as you can see, the project revenue is now calculated for all of the projects in this sheet. And because this data is related to currency, we'll update the column formatting. So you'll select the column, then click the downward pointing arrow next to the currency format icon. The last use case for the sheet summary fields is to create interactive data on your sheet. Now this is similar to our previous use case of building formulas, but here we're using the sheet summary fields to dynamically interact with your data on the sheet. You can still easily view and update key data that's being used in the calculations on the sheet, but it's also great for drilling down on specific data sets that may not be highlighted on the dashboard. Meet Sam. Sam is a service director that manages service requests from customers across the country, and she quickly needs to know the number of requests a specific customer submits on a given day. So we'll be using the sheet summary fields to specify a customer and then using that field to calculate the number of requests on her sheet. So here we are on Sam's sheet. Now she uses this sheet to tally all of the requests that she receives from her customers. These requests are being tracked on separate sheets that correspond with the columns that she has on this tallying sheet. Now, as you can see, this sheet is divvied up by daily rows, and we're using parent rows to give an overall number of the requests received for any given month. Now, as we mentioned earlier, Sam needs to know the number of requests that are coming in on a daily and monthly basis, but she also wants to know these metrics for specific customers. In our Sheet Summary tab, we've added a company drop-down field to house all of the customers that Sam is managing. From there, we've built nested formulas that references the company field in the Summary tab. Now, because Sam is using separate sheets for each step in the service process, the formulas in her column have different sets of cross-sheet references that correspond with the tracking sheets. Now, because the concept of creating these formulas are the same, with the exception of different cross-sheet references, we'll just look at the first column to see how Sam is using the sheet summary field to drill down on her data. To accomplish this use case in Sam's scenario, we're using the following formula across her sheet. In other words, if our company sheet summary field is blank, then count all of the requests in this sheet that correspond to the date in the row. Right now, our company field is blank, so our sheet is tallying all of the requests that correspond with the specific date on the row. Now, let's select a customer from our summary field to see this use case in action. So we'll click on the drop-down field and select a customer. Once the customer is selected from the drop-down field, click anywhere in the tab to apply the changes. And as you can see, the metrics have updated based on the selected company that we chose. Now we've covered the 4 use cases for the Sheet Summary tab, but I'd like to leave you with a couple of bonus tips that you can use to really catapult your use of the Sheet Summary fields. The first tip is that you can use the report builder to aggregate sheet summary fields from one or multiple sheets. You'll start off by creating a new report, and you can create new reports through the Solution Center or using the Create button on the Home or Browse pages. When you create a report, you'll select the Sheet Summary Report option in the pop-up window, then hit OK. The report builder works just the same as if you were building a row report. You'll select your source sheets, the columns to display, or in this case, the fields to display, add filter criteria, group, summarize, and sort as needed. And my second and last bonus tip is that you can create metric dashboard widgets from sheet summary fields. To add a metric widget to your dashboard from a sheet summary field that you've created, you'll want to go to the dashboard you want to add the widget to. From here, you'll click the pencil icon to edit the dashboard and click the Add Widget icon on the right-hand side of the page. From the Add Widget tab, click the Metric option. Then click the Add Data button. On the Select Data window, choose the sheet that has the sheet summary field that you'd like to display on your dashboard. Once the sheet is selected, you'll change the data type from the grid data to the sheet summary data. Once selected, you'll see all of the sheet summary fields that you've created on that sheet. Then check off the fields that you'd want to display. If you have several fields on your sheet summary that you'd like to display on the dashboard, you can choose to select all of the fields automatically. Once your desired fields are selected, click OK. And as you can see, all of the fields that we've selected has been added to this metric widget. I hope what you've learned has been valuable and will help you further optimize your use of Smartsheet. Until next time.